When it comes to finding your perfect match, they say opposites attract.
He was very much unlike anyone that she had previously dated.
She was classy, educated. She got him out of his shell.
But when the rose-colored glasses come off, is it true love or a fatal mismatch?
He has one single gunshot wound to the back of his neck.
She was saying, what happened? What happened? And he just kept saying, you didn't see anything.
Sometimes it takes everything on the line to finally see a love that was doomed from the start.
It just felt like somebody just snatched my heart out of my chest.
She was in denial about who she was in the relationship with and what he was capable of.
She loved him. She wants to do anything to keep their relationship going.
July 31st, 2013, Garner, North Carolina.
Garner is a blue-collar, working-class community, people commuting into Raleigh for work, raising their families, very middle class, very modest.
Around 7:30 p.m., the Garner Police Department receives a flurry of emergency calls.
We received several 911 calls about a man who had been shot in Westchester Apartments, outside near the parking lot.
Immediately, the Garner police descend upon that apartment complex to try to figure out what's going on.
They seen a crowd in the parking lot surrounding a man that's laying on the ground with a gunshot wound.
Responding officers perform life-saving measures on the man as they call for backup.
They realize right away that he has one single gunshot wound to the back of his neck. They try to identify the victim. He does have his wallet in his pocket. In that wallet, he has identification, and his name is Kevon Gales.
"35-year-old Kevon Gales was raised by a loving military family in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
He was close with his family members, his brothers and his sister. Very tight family. He was very smart. He was athletic.
Kevon was a big football player in high school, like the All-American. Everyone loved him.
After graduation, unlike most of his family, Kevon decided not to pursue a military career. He had something else in mind.
He wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be famous.
He was writing, he was recording. His friend had a studio, so they would make music together. He really wanted to make it big.
Kevon worked hard to support his dream, spending countless hours in the studio perfecting his craft. Then, in 2004, his love life took off as well, when he ran into a former classmate, Constance Arnold.
I was walking to the store one day. I passed Kevon, and he asked me, did I remember him? I was like, yeah, I remember you from school. Then he asked if he can come and take me out, and I was like, sure.
The two immediately hit it off. But Constance wasn't looking for a serious relationship.
When Constance and Kevon met, she was actually pregnant with her ex-boyfriend's baby.
The person I got pregnant with, you know, he ran off, so he was military. I didn't want to date nobody. But Kevon, he said if a child's dad wasn't going to be in our life, he was willing to take on that responsibility of being there for me and for my child.
Once the baby was born, Kevon stuck to his word and wanted to continue to build a family with Constance. On Valentine's Day 2006, they tied the knot.
Constance and Kevon get married and have 2 kids of their own.
We had a little girl, and the second was a boy. He loved them. He was family man.
Kevon was dedicated to providing for his family and found a job he really enjoyed while he continued his music.
He got his barber's license. He loved it. He can be himself, cutting hair, talking to people. That's what he liked to do.
At the same time, Kevon's rap career was really taking off. He was really getting into his rap persona, going out partying, staying out all night.
Kevon loved the nightlife. He loved to be out. He loved the club. He loved the ladies. So he had to do all that without me. And he did.
Soon, the late nights and party culture put a wedge between him and Constance. In 2009, they decided to separate due to their different lifestyles.
We co-parented. He could spend time with the kids. I bring him over to wherever he was at.
Eventually, Kevon began dating a new woman named Drea Baker. In the spring of 2013, after about a year together, the couple moved to another North Carolina town.
Kevon Gales had recently moved to Garner, which is a couple hours away, for a fresh start with his girlfriend.
He moved on with his life, but then he didn't want to move too far from his kids.
He begins working as a barber, which is his trade, and things are going pretty well for him.
He loved this new city. He met new friends. Everyone loved him. This was like the fresh start he was looking for.
But just a few months after moving to Garner, Kevon Gales has been found shot in the parking lot of an apartment complex. An ambulance rushes him to the closest hospital as investigators arrive on the scene.
Police are quickly trying to figure out, what do they have here?
On the ground where Kevon was shot, they find nothing but some broken beer bottles.
Kevon had been shot once with what we believe was a revolver because we could never find the shell casing. There were people who were coming out of their apartments, trying to be helpful, saying what they saw, what they heard.
Unfortunately, no one had seen the actual shooting occur.
They all said the same thing, that they heard the pop, and then they looked out the window. They had seen a man wearing a white hat, a white shirt, and dark-colored shorts, jogging to a white sedan. He was the passenger.
Another witness says when that man gets into the white sedan, he sees a female behind the wheel of that car driving them away from the scene.
The vehicle left the area and they were not sure which way the vehicle turned out of the complex.
It sounds like somebody planned to kill this guy and then jump in this white car and get out of town. So police are kind of believing this was a targeted hit.
They need to know more about the victim.
We ran Kevon's name in our database and confirmed where he lived.
They find out that Kevon Gales lived very close to where he was shot. He lived in the apartment complex right next door.
Police had actually had multiple contacts between him and his girlfriend over the past several months. Seemed to be domestic related.
Could this have anything to do with Kevon being shot?
Witness saw a female getaway driver, so now they're wondering if Dre was involved with the shooting.
Was there a love triangle? Was there jealousy? Was there something that may have put her in the middle of this situation?
You have to look at people who are closest to the victim, so we were very interested in speaking with her.
On the evening of July 31st, 2013, police in Garner, North Carolina are investigating the shooting of 35-year-old Kevon Gales.
Residents say they saw a man leaving from the scene in a white sedan with a female driving.
Investigators want to speak with his girlfriend, Drea Baker.
We had information that Kevon and his girlfriend had had a rocky relationship over the past several months. We were interested in speaking with his girlfriend.
Police find her at the hospital, where Kevon is fighting for his life.
He's in intensive care, he's in critical condition, and it's very touch and go, and police don't know if he's going to make it.
Kevon's girlfriend was very upset at what had happened. She was devastated, and she wanted to help. In speaking with Kevon's girlfriend, we learned that they were both originally from Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Dre tells police that they abruptly moved to Garner a couple months ago.
She told us Kevon had gotten into an altercation with someone in Jacksonville, and that is why they decided to move to Garner. And he never returned to Jacksonville after that.
Drea tells police she doesn't know the details, but she does know the man he had fought with.
His name is Keith Sharp, and everyone calls him Kebo.
She told us that she reached out to Kebo so that she could squash the beef between them. And during the course of conversations, Kebo got her to tell him where he was and where he worked. And it was a month later that Kevon was shot.
She doesn't know where Kebo lives exactly, but she knows that the two of them had known each other for several years.
We immediately contacted the Jacksonville, North Carolina Police Department to find out what the circumstances of the incident were.
Investigators find a report where Kebo had been a victim of an assault a few months before, in March.
Kebo is at the nightclub with two guys, and he runs into a man who owes him money.
His associates began roughing him up, and the guy put out a knife, stabbing Kebo in the neck before running off.
Kebo survived the incident, but the case ended there.
He doesn't want to give up the name of the person who stabbed him, so the investigation goes nowhere. But they hear on the street that the person who stabbed Kebo was Kevon Gales.
The very next day, we went down to Jacksonville and met with their drug unit and got more information about Kebo.
The police in Jacksonville knew Kebo very well. This is a legit drug dealer that has some amount of authority and power in the streets of Jacksonville.
Kebo had a reputation in the community for handling his business with violence if necessary.
Investigators dig further into the relationship between Kebo and Kevon.
When we went down to Jacksonville, we met with Kevon's estranged wife, Constance.
Constance has already been made aware of the shooting.
I didn't know how to feel. I didn't think it was real. I didn't think it was real.
When we spoke with Constance, she said that she had heard from Kevon about the fight at the club and that he was living in Garner.
He did kind of seem worried, and he said he seemed like he had to get away to protect me and the kids. So he said he needed to leave.
Constance tells police that Kevon and Kebo knew each other since they were teens.
As they got older, Kebo started getting into some criminal enterprises, criminal activity, dealing with drugs. And she says Kevon just kind of followed his childhood friend into that life, into that world.
Constance says later she realized that Kevon's fears were valid.
She had heard that Kebo was putting a hit out on Kevon for retaliation for what happened at the club. There was a rumor in Jacksonville that he would be willing to pay $5,000 to anyone who found Kevon.
After speaking with Constance, investigators want to find Kibo. But it isn't going to be easy. Police learn he lives mainly in Jacksonville, but also has family in Savannah, Georgia, about 300 miles away.
Kibo kept a low profile. It was difficult to locate him. Jacksonville Police Department was working with us.
Although Kibo looks like a good suspect, detectives still have questions.
Did he do it? Did he hire someone to do it? Was it a hit? And who is this mystery woman who was driving the white sedan away from the scene?
Two days into the shooting investigation of Kevon Gales, Garner, North Carolina police believe Kibo Sharp, a known drug dealer out of Jacksonville, may have put a hit on him.
Police try to track down Kibo, and he's kind of a moving target. He roams around, and they can't find him.
Then, 5 days after the shooting, on August 5, 2013, police receive word that Kevon has succumbed to his injuries, leaving behind many devastated loved ones.
I was crying. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. Because I knew my kids, they wasn't gonna have a dad ever again.
Now, with a murder investigation on their hands, Garner police are determined to get justice for Kevon's family. That's when they learn that Jacksonville police have a lead on Kibo.
They called us and said that they did have a misdemeanor warrant on Kibo and they knew where to find him. We went down to Jacksonville Police Department and they had taken him into custody so that we could interview him. At the same time, we also had drafted a search warrant for any of his phones that may be on him.
Jacksonville police relieve Kibo of 3 phones, but when Garner detectives try to talk with him, he's tight-lipped.
He acknowledged the fight, but said that there was no beef and he had nothing to do with Kevon's murder.
What they also learned is that Kibo was not there. He was at the mall in Raleigh, a couple miles away, when the shooting occurred.
Investigators focus on analyzing his phones.
They're looking through these texts on the 3 phones that they took from Kibo, and a lot of it is in code. It's hard to decipher.
Then, one text stands out to detectives, a text someone sent to Kibo on the day of the murder.
It listed an address to a hotel that we knew was in Garner and a room number.
It becomes a critical piece of evidence because it is just 3 miles away from where Kevon was shot, and it was sent on the day of the shooting.
We immediately sent detectives to that hotel to try to get information about whoever booked that room and any video surveillance that they could provide.
They find out who was renting that room on the day of the shooting, and they discover it's a woman by the name of Sierra Jeffries.
"24-year-old Sierra Jeffries grew up in Savannah, Georgia.
Sierra wasn't the kind of young woman who got in trouble growing up. She was not somebody that hung out with the wrong crowd.
She was raised in a very loving, hard-working, supportive family. Her family pushed all the kids to make good grades and do something with their lives.
After finishing high school, Sierra took the next step toward her future.
She enrolled in a nursing program and was working towards getting her CNA license.
Then, at 19, Sierra learned her life was about to change.
She finds out she was pregnant. This was a bit of a shock. She hadn't planned to be a mom so early, but she loved being a mother. Her daughter was the center of her universe.
Dating was the furthest thing from her mind. But in 2009, love found her anyway, in the strangest of places.
Sierra went to go visit a friend that was in jail, and there was some type of mix-up, and the guard ended up bringing Ramon Black to Sierra instead of her friend.
Even though they both grew up in Savannah, 21-year-old Ramon Black came from a completely different world.
Me and his father, we divorced. I think he maybe was about 3 or 4 years old. And it was sort of rough. I didn't have a perfect life.
He actually went to stay with his father when he was 5. He came back at, I think, 14 or 15.
He got attracted to that fast life. And in the neighborhood we stayed in, that's basically what all the kids his age was doing.
Then, Ramon found himself fathering a child as a teenager.
It was rough, but to him it came easy. Especially as young as he had, a child, and he did great.
Despite their differences, it was clear Sierra and Ramon had instant chemistry. And when Ramon was released from prison, they officially became an item.
Ramon was very different than anyone she ever dated before because he was like a bad boy, but they took in each other's children. Ramon had a son and he always wanted a daughter, so he loved Sierra's daughter. She was helping Ramon really get his life on track. He even left the streets, got a full-time job, was even thinking about taking college classes in the tech field.
She really turned him around, and I was happy that he met her. Oh, he loved her. He really loved her. He loved her. She loved him as well.
But now, detectives are wondering if Sierra Jeffries played a role in the murder of Kevon Gales.
Police are really trying to figure out how is Sierra Jeffries involved in this case.
Just 1 week after Kevon Gales is murdered, walking to his apartment, police in Garner, North Carolina believe it was a hit and are wondering if 24-year-old Sierra Jeffries is involved.
They know she rented the hotel room, they know there's a female driver of this car, but now they need to figure out how to connect her through Kevon and Kibo.
Investigators obtain the footage from the hotel's security cameras and are able to watch her movements on the day of the murder. And she's not alone.
You could see a white sedan pull up and park, a female get out of the driver's side, and a male get out of the passenger side who matched the description of the person witnesses described at the scene of the shooting. So we began to try to figure out who was the male that was seen getting out of the vehicle at the hotel.
Investigators are able to get Sierra's cell phone number and view her records around the day of Kevon's murder.
We also wanted to know who the owner of the cell phone number was that had texted Kibo about the hotel. That phone number and Sierra's phone number communicated back and forth.
They also discover that Sierra had been to Garner before.
Sierra had come to the area the week prior, and so had Kibo. And this was all using GPS location. We started canvassing the area hotels and found that Sierra Jeffries had rented a room for 2 nights on July 25th. So at that point, we knew that Sierra and the person who we believed could be the shooter and Kibo had come together the week prior to the shooting in the same general area of where the shooting took place.
To try and find this mystery man, investigators check out Sierra's social media and discover he's her boyfriend.
We were ultimately able to identify her companion as Ramon Antonio Black.
Ramon's criminal record mirrors Kibo's, but Sierra appears to be the exact opposite.
This is not a person who has been in frequent touch with law enforcement at all. She's got a clean record.
Knowing who he is now, investigators are able to match the unknown number to Ramon.
We were able to find text messages between Ramon Black and Kibo on the first date that they came up to the area, which was on July 25th. Kibo appeared to be giving directions to Ramon, general directions, and asking him to let him know when he was in the area.
There's an exchange where Ramon basically tells Kibo in their code language, hey, there's too many people in the barbershop, it's packed, we need to come back another day.
Kibo seemed aggravated. He basically said, I want to get this done. Of course, it sounded a little bit cryptic, but by that time, we knew for sure that Kibo was orchestrating this whole thing.
Police also use GPS to track their movements around Garner on July 31st.
On the day of the shooting, within a very short time frame of the shooting, Ramon Black's phone was in the area. Sierra's phone was there. Kibo's phone was not there.
Police don't yet have enough evidence to charge Kibo, but they do for Sierra and Ramon.
We knew we were going to have to go down to Savannah, and we were going to charge Sierra and Ramon.
They believe she may be that missing link that can pull this whole case together.
With an arrest warrant in hand, on August 22nd, Garner police head to Savannah, Georgia to speak with Sierra, hoping to get a confession. Garner detectives sit down with the young mother.
She is really uncomfortable. She's nervous. She's never had interactions with the police in this way. This is completely out of her element.
Police are presenting her with this tangible information. You know, we know you rented this hotel room. They tell her that she was seen in that white car at the scene by witnesses.
When confronted with all the evidence, Sierra can't deny it any longer.
Finally, after hours, Sierra decides to come clean, and she tells police everything.
August 2013, Savannah, Georgia. Garner police are questioning Sierra Jeffries about the night that Kevon Gales was murdered.
Sierra told us that Ramon had asked her if she wanted to go to North Carolina, and she said, okay. She knew he did not have a license, so therefore she needed to drive him, and he was going to provide the car.
On July 25th, the two of them headed to Garner in a white four-door sedan.
While they were en route, Ramon was texting someone back and forth.
When they arrived, she checked them into a hotel.
The next day, he wanted to drive around.
She says Ramon is constantly in contact with somebody. She doesn't know who it is. She has no idea why they're there. They're just sitting in the shopping center, and eventually, after a few more communications on his cell phone, he says, we're done, we're going back to Savannah.
She was like, why did we come if we didn't even do anything? And he said, don't worry about it. So She drove back to Savannah. She gave him back the car.
Then the following week, Ramon called her, wanting to go back to Garner.
She wasn't going to do it, but she knew that he didn't have a license, so she agreed.
They drove in the same white sedan and checked into another hotel.
The same hotel that we knew they were at on the day of the shooting. She checked in, she used her card. A short while later, a guy with dreads pulled up in a white van, and Ramon met with him, and then he drove out of the hotel parking lot with the guy in the van and told her to be on standby. She said she assumed that he was going to need her to pick him up from whatever they were doing. So she just stayed at the hotel for a couple of hours until he called her.
According to Sierra, Ramon summoned her to the same shopping center they'd been to the week before, telling her to park in front of the barber shop.
She knew he was there for a reason and that something was probably going to happen, but she didn't know what it was.
Sierra says she saw Ramon across the parking lot in the white van he'd left the hotel in. She stayed put until around 7 p.m., when Ramon called her again.
He told her that the person that was walking in front of her car was the person that he wanted her to follow into the grocery store and make sure that he did go in there and whether or not he was alone.
She goes into the grocery store and says, yeah, this guy is in the grocery store with me, and he's by himself. She doesn't think anything of it.
And then she walked back out and got back into the car. At that point, he said that you're gonna follow us, and she saw that the man had walked out and walked around the side of the building.
Sierra says she followed the van into an apartment complex parking lot. Confused as to what was happening, Sierra called Ramon.
She could see that Ramon was out of the van on foot, and he appeared to be following the man walking, who turned out to be Kevon. She said that she asked him what he was doing, what was going to happen. He said, I'm about to see something, and he hung up on her. Right after that, she heard a pop.
She says it sounds like a gunshot. And then all of a sudden, he's back at the car. He gets into the car and says, let's go to Savannah. He doesn't have a weapon with him. She has no idea what's going on.
She asked, what just happened? And he said, you don't need to worry about it. You didn't see anything. And then they drove back to Savannah. She left him with the car, and that was all that she knew.
Sierra claims she never saw Ramon with a gun or shoot anyone.
She knew that something bad had happened and realized that she had become involved in something that she never intended to. She was uncomfortable and scared.
Sierra's decision to ignore the facts that were around her really shows that she was in denial about who she was in a relationship with.
It was clear that she did not want to acknowledge a strong role in this, and ultimately, she was the driver of the vehicle.
As the interview concludes, Sierra is placed under arrest and charged as an accessory to the murder of Kevon Gales. Ramon Black is picked up on a parole violation.
He was not cooperative at all. He would not provide us with any information.
Investigators also have no luck finding the driver of the van.
Ultimately, we knew that we needed to move forward with the actual shooter, who we identified as Ramon Black. He was charged with first-degree murder and extradited back to Wake County, North Carolina.
I was like in disbelief because I'm like, you know, I know my child. If he wrong, he wrong.
As prosecutors prepare for trial, the case takes a shocking turn.
I was speechless. I was just done. It was like I couldn't breathe.
Sierra Jeffries and her boyfriend, Ramon Black, have been charged in the murder of Kevon Gales. There's a third player in the crime police have yet to charge, Kibo Sharp.
We were hoping to get to a point where we would charge him, since none of this would have happened without him.
I even talked to him about that, like, Ramon, I want to point fingers at other people, but it was never a thought in his head that he would ever snitch or testify against anybody else.
Prosecutors offer Sierra a deal. Plead guilty to accessory after the fact of first-degree murder and testify against Ramon, and receive time served.
Sierra was finally able to look at the facts that were before her, and the moment finally came where she chose herself.
Just 7 weeks before the trial, there's some shocking news.
Police find out that Kibo Sharp has been shot execution style.
When we found out that he had been murdered, I can't say that it was a complete surprise.
Kibo's murder raises eyebrows, but Jacksonville police don't find any link to Ramon's case.
We do not believe that they are related at all.
On August 3rd, 2015, Ramon Black's murder trial begins.
The state's theory of this case is that Kibo and Ramon have known each other for about a decade, and it wasn't out of the norm that he might have asked Ramon to do something like this for him.
Sierra tells the jury everything she was a part of.
Sierra's testimony was important because she spoke it from the perspective of someone who was directly involved in the crime and helped tie everything together for us.
The defense works on creating reasonable doubt.
There's no physical evidence. He never had a gun. No one saw him shoot a gun. If he was coming up here to murder someone, it doesn't make logical sense for him to involve her in this if he knew what was going on.
Ultimately, the state's case resonates more with the jury.
On August 7th, 2015, Ramon Black is found guilty of first-degree murder in this case, and he's sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It just felt like somebody just snatched my heart out of my chest and my lungs because, you know, I'm not going to accept that.
I was satisfied with that. He did. He needed to get life. I don't know nothing about him. I don't know if he had kids or not, but, you know, obviously he didn't care.
Although justice was served for Kevon's family, there's still a hole that can never be filled.
A good man was taken from my kids. A good father, a good dad. He didn't deserve it. My kids didn't deserve it. You know, they gonna live without having a dad for the rest of their life.
With her testimony complete, Sierra is released after serving 2 years in jail, with 1 year of probation.
I guess you loved him. If you loved him like this, I'm not doing it. Ain't that much love in the world that, you know. Right, I'm not about to have that on my record for nobody, you know? Not for no man.
Now a free woman, Sierra strives to create a better future for herself and her 7-year-old daughter. But she'll carry the lessons she's learned with her forever.
I really felt badly that she found herself in the position that she did. She was a smart woman, but I don't think that she really understood what she was getting into when she was getting involved with Ramon Black.
Sometimes, when opposites attract, it can be dynamic. Other times, you can find yourself in uncharted territory. But ignoring red flags won't make them disappear.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jahi, and I'm excited to welcome you to another episode of the For My Man podcast. In this episode, we'll be discussing Jessica and the incredible lengths she went to for her man. We'll explore the sacrifices that women make for men they love. I'll be sharing my perspective, and I'm really looking forward to hearing insights from Crystal and Tyra during our episode wrap-up. But for right now, let's listen to the story of Jessica and what she did for her man.
For as long as she can remember, Jessica Delancey of Picketteville, Georgia, has only known what it's like to feel unwanted and alone.
She was abandoned by her mother. Jessica's father was abusive, and he was an alcoholic.
Jessica's grandmother is left to care for her, but pays little attention to her needs.
She had no home life whatsoever. There was no one there to help direct her.
There wasn't a lot of things in her environment that could reinforce her in a positive way.
Despite her circumstances, Jessica still holds out hope that one day she'll get far away from Picketteville.
Daydreaming is certainly a coping mechanism because she felt neglected and abandoned. And for Jessica, that daydream, that fantasy, the constant fantasy she had in her mind was to be wanted and to be loved.
Fresh out of high school, 17-year-old Jessica marries the first man who catches her eye. He whisks her away to Jacksonville, 10 miles down the road.
She's desperately looking for somebody to love and accept her. He didn't treat her very well. Not long after that, he left her with a son to take care of on her own.
A year after leaving home, Jessica is already looking for a fresh start. She and her son move in with a friend who works as an exotic dancer, and Jessica signs up for classes at the local community college.
She was trying to better herself by getting an education. She was going to school to be a certified nursing assistant, but she had some difficulties to pay for those education programs.
With her bills piling up, Jessica's new roommate suggests a way to fix her money problems.
She had no real way of making a living. Her friend told Jessica the fastest way you can make this cash is to come and work at the strip club.
Jessica takes her friend's advice and makes her way to the dance floor.
She worked as an exotic dancer at one of the local clubs here.
She was an attractive girl. She did very well financially. She walks away in the evening and has cash in her pocket that she can now spend freely.
Jessica drops out of school to focus full-time on making money at the club.
Jessica was like a lot of other young ladies who are simply looking to escape circumstances that are already dismal. They want to find a better life, but they don't have a real plan. They haven't really thought about the resources they have at hand or resources that are available to them.
But there are drawbacks that come with her new lifestyle that affect her now 2-year-old child.
Between taking care of her son and stripping, that was a very, very tough balancing act for her.
Jessica would oftentimes leave her son for long periods of time. When she was dancing, she relied heavily on other family members to assist her.
When she ended up having her own child at a very young age, she repeated that same behavior, what she was taught, to be neglectful and to abandon. And therefore she did the same to her child by passing the care of that child on to her family.
The last thing Jessica expects to find, stripping, is love. But that's exactly what happens when, a month into her new job, she spies 19-year-old drug dealer Derek Goldson.
Derek took a fancy to Jessica and they struck up conversation.
They exchanged phone numbers that night. And Jessica and Derek, from then on out, they started a relationship.
And it isn't long before the only place Jessica wants to be is by the side of her new man.
Derek had large amounts of cash because of his involvement in the drug trade.
The combination of being a decent-looking guy and having substantially more money than she was ever earning as an exotic dancer, it was almost too much to resist.
Jessica doesn't care where the money comes from, as long as Derek is spending it on her.
He slipped a wad of cash in her G-string, and he made her feel good about herself.
It's really not surprising that she would date someone who had a very severe criminal occupation, a drug dealer, and he took care of her financially. This fed into that fantasy she always had of being taken care of in every way possible. So his lifestyle, for her, didn't even matter.
Just 5 days after meeting Derek, Jessica packs up her 4-year-old son and moves in with him. But she quickly learns that her new relationship comes at a price.
Not long after Jessica realized that he was a very controlling person, he told her that she had to stop working at the strip club. She's his woman. He doesn't want other men looking at her.
Derek promised to support her and her son, so she quit her job as a dancer.
Like I said, I'm taking care of you. I'm your daddy now. Since your father don't care.
By Derek offering to take care of Jessica, this was the beginning of a grooming that we see quite often happens. In many ways, this is what she wanted, the fantasy come true, the knight in shining armor riding in and taking care of her. But this was really a pure manipulation, a grooming by Derek.
Derek is not only a control freak, he's also a drug dealer who's addicted to his own product.
Whenever Derek would use cocaine, he would have a short temper and he would become very volatile. On multiple occasions, he would blacken her eye or bloody her lip.
She didn't try to get out of that situation because at that point, him taking care of her and her son, she probably saw that as a necessary evil.
By Jessica growing up in a home where her father was missing, the affection of a father, the role modeling of a father as to what a relationship should be, in this case between a man and a woman, Jessica didn't know what a healthy relationship was.
Despite Derek's abusive behavior, Jessica stays in the relationship, and within a few months, she finds herself in a new line of work.
Derek had Jessica working for him. She would frequently drive him to places to pick up drugs and to drop off drugs. The main person that Jessica and Derek dealt with was a guy by the name of Reggie.
Reggie acts as Derek's main supplier, and their business relationship seems to run smoothly, until the night that Reggie sells Derek a batch of bad crack cocaine.
Derek was cooking up the substance on the stove, and the product turned into mush. So he says, well, I can't go out and sell this. This turned into a $1,000 loss.
He became very irate. He was saying that he was going to go over and force Reggie to make this thing right.
I'm gonna get his ass. We're gonna get his ass.
As a drug dealer, your reputation is on the line. You have to do something extreme to make the person pay for it.
Derek will not rest until he can recoup his cash. He comes up with a plan to steal his money back from Reggie, and Jessica is eager to help him.
Jessica's looking at this as, we're going to do anything we need to do to get this money.
You with it?
Yeah, come on, of course. Let's do it.
Let's go.
She's saying, this is my man, and I'm going to do what I need to do to keep it all good with him.
The couple decides to disguise their appearance in order to take Reggie by surprise.
So at that point, they really take on this Bonnie and Clyde persona. Derek put on a black knit cap over his face, and Jessica donned a blonde wig.
Then they drive to Reggie's house, and while they wait outside for him to show up, Derek works out one last detail with Jessica.
Derek had a AK-47. He provided Jessica with a .45 caliber handgun.
This is a guy she's known for 4 months. He's now asking her to commit a crime.
She could have withdrawn it at that point. She could have said, no, don't give me that gun. I don't want to do this.
Derek says, Jessica, this gun is for your protection. That's when it really becomes all real to Jessica. She takes the gun.
It's quite obvious that Jessica has the same mind frame at this point as Derek. She was willing to commit murder in order to please him, but to also let him know that she was an equal partner in their crime.
And when Reggie shows, Jessica continues to follow Derek's lead.
At that point, he was confronted by Derek and Jessica at gunpoint, and that he forced him inside of the house.
Oh, yeah. Let go. Calm down. All right. Put the money.
Once inside, they realize Reggie doesn't live alone. He has a family.
She realized that there's Reggie's wife in there, Kyoto.
And their niece, who was 10 years old. I think Jessica was extremely surprised to see anybody except perhaps Reggie's wife inside the house.
Where's the money? It's in the back, man.
Despite her shock, Jessica keeps her gun aimed at Reggie's family as she stands by her man, ready to take his orders.
You would think that Jessica, being a mother herself, her motherly instincts would kick in, but apparently Derek's hold over Jessica was a lot more stronger.
Prepare yourself for more shocking twists and heart-wrenching turns. This is the For My Man podcast.
After knowing 19-year-old Derek Goldson for just 4 months in Jacksonville, Florida, 21-year-old Jessica Delancey is ready to prove her love to him. After Derek's supplier Reggie sells him a bad batch of cocaine,
That's money out of our pocket.
Jessica joins Derek on a mission to steal back his money.
Let's go, babe.
Derek and Jessica force Reggie into the home. She just instinctively followed Derek's lead.
Reggie's wife, Kyoto, and his 10-year-old niece are in the living room. Despite the presence of a child, Jessica and Derek demand that Reggie give them their money.
We just want the money. That's all we want.
Reggie indicated that the money was in the bedroom, in a closet. Jessica went to look for it while Derek kept Reggie and Kyoto in the living room.
While Jessica is searching for the drugs and money, she hears Derek cry out to her. When she runs back in, she sees a struggle ensuing between Reggie and Derek. They're fighting over the gun.
Derek is trying to give Jessica commands about what to do as he's wrestling with Reggie. Jessica manages to shoot Reggie once in the back.
As Reggie fell to the floor, Derek then took control of the rifle and then executed him.
Jessica and Derek are clearly working as a team. She's willing to do anything to fortify their relationship.
What do we do now?
I don't know.
While the killers are distracted, Kyoto tries to escape.
She turned and fired multiple shots at Kyoto as she was fleeing from that home.
Despite Jessica's attempt to shoot her, Kyoto manages to get away.
Derek and Jessica ran out the front door of the home and back to the truck. They knew at that point in time, based upon the screaming and the gunshots, that the police were going to be on the way.
He ordered Jessica to grab the wheel in the drive, to actually be the getaway driver.
The pair start to flee the scene.
Derek begins to question Jessica about Kyoto, and he said, "Did you kill her?" And she said, "I don't know." At this point, she's flustered. She doesn't really know what happened, but she did shoot at her.
Suddenly, Derek spots something out of the corner of his eye.
Right there she is.
As they were pulling off, Derek saw someone hiding underneath a tree off to the left of the road.
He yelled at Jessica to stop. She slammed on the brakes.
Derek wants to make sure there are no loose ends.
Derek got out to confront Kyoto, who then begged for her life and asked him why he was doing this.
Derek raised up the AK-47, executed Kyoto.
At this point, you have Jessica, who's seen her boyfriend murder 2 people. You would think that Jessica would be feeling like, my boyfriend is a lot more dangerous than I figured. I'm gonna take off. But she didn't do that.
Come on, get in the car.
After she had witnessed Derek killing 2 people, there are a lot of things going on in her mind, but leaving him was not one of them.
Now partners in 2 cold-blooded murders, Jessica and Derek flee the scene. The money they came to get, forgotten.
The result of this entire affair is that it was all for naught. They took nothing except 2 lives, and that's a tragedy.
She could have opted to stop participating. For her, there was just no turning back.
For the next 3 weeks, Derek and Jessica hole up in their apartment, hoping everything will blow over.
Derek continued to tell her, well, you can't tell anybody about this.
Derek and Jessica believed that the only witnesses that could identify them were the two individuals that were killed. Jessica and Derek thought they got away with murder.
What they don't realize is that when they drove away from Reggie's apartment, a crucial witness emerged from her hiding spot.
And only a matter of feet away, sort of concealed under the tree in the bushes, was the niece.
She witnessed all of these things that happened.
It's difficult to imagine the impact on a 10-year-old child witnessing an execution, particularly of your aunt or a relative, but of anyone. It's an experience that's going to live with that young girl all of her life.
After running to a neighbor's house for safety, Reggie's niece calls the police.
She gave a very detailed description of the events from the very beginning to the end.
Reggie's niece tells the police the man was wearing a mask, but she's sure that she'd recognize the woman if she saw her again.
She had a very lucid and very excellent memory for the features, and it resulted in a very good sketch and likeness.
That just shows you that sometimes trauma can make people remember things. It stays in their mind, and it becomes very vivid to some people.
As investigators hunt for Jessica, Derek's pulled over in a traffic stop, and detectives run his plates. He's wanted on an outstanding warrant from a domestic dispute he had with a former girlfriend. He's immediately taken into custody.
Now, at this point, the police don't know that Derek is the guy they're looking for. He calls Jessica and asks her to go to his best friend's Garrett house to get this bail money for him.
When Jessica arrives at Garrett's house to collect the money, she's unprepared for who she'll meet there.
Garrett was actually dating the sister of Kyoto Williams.
When she goes to the house, there are friends of Kyoto who are going to her funeral.
And one guest in particular catches Jessica by surprise, Reggie's niece. And later, in Chicago, Lisa Toney leaves her husband for another man, with explosive results.
She wanted him dead, and sooner the better.
He was like a shadow moving through the night. I mean, he could have walked up to him and blew his brains out, but he did not. He devised what he considered a perfect crime by sending him a package with a bomb in it.
Lisa would had her life turned upside down by a master of manipulation.
If you are like us, this captivating story has us on the edge of our seats, and we're bursting to share our thoughts. Stay tuned for the For My Man episode wrap-up.
Jessica Delancey and her boyfriend Derek Goldson believe they've gotten away with a double murder after they shot and killed their drug supplier Reggie and his wife Kyoto over a deal gone bad. But when Derek gets thrown in jail on an unrelated charge, their quest for money will be their undoing.
Derek calls up Jessica and tells her to go to his best friend Garrett's house to get the money that he needs.
Garrett was actually dating the sister of Kyoto Williams. Jessica went over. Garrett was getting ready to go to a memorial for Kyoto Williams.
You have all of these people here who were preparing to go to Kyoto's funeral. Among those, a 10-year-old niece who saw her aunt was murdered.
The niece ran out of the living room into one of the back bedrooms. Kyoto's sister ran after and asked her what was wrong, and the 10-year-old reported that's who killed Reggie and Kyoto.
Jessica and Derek thought they had gotten away with murder. They were riding high. They thought they were invincible until that point that a child stepped up to identify them. And at that point, she knew that it was all over.
Jessica immediately leaves the house without Derek's bail money. Reggie's niece is taken to the police, who learn about Jessica and the person who connects her to both Garrett and Kyoto.
The police then reviewed Derek Golson's jail phone calls and realized that Derek Golson had had a conversation with Jessica Delancey about this encounter with the 10-year-old niece. Based upon their investigation and hearing these phone calls that were made between Derek and Jessica, a warrant for her arrest was obtained from a judge.
Jessica is picked up at her home and taken into custody. Confronted with her own voice on tape, Jessica confesses to investigators.
Jessica not only confessed to her part in the murders, but she also revealed Derek's part in the murder as well.
Because Derek was in jail, Jessica no longer felt that she was under his thumb, under his rule, under his power, and therefore was much more comfortable in speaking to the police as to what had happened. At this point, she was going to look out for herself and without the fear of retribution from Derek.
In exchange for her testimony against Derek, Jessica is given a sentence of 48 years.
Derek pled guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of armed robbery. Based upon his plea agreement, he would be sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences.
And the irony of all of this is after Derek murdered Reginald, after he murdered his wife, they didn't get any money. They didn't find any money. So that was a wasted errand that ended with a lot of wasted lives.
Including Jessica's.
All of Jessica's dreams about freedom and being taken care of and having love in her life, they've all gone down the drain because of that fateful decision of getting involved with a man that she thought she loved.
You can always tell a person's future by the people they hang around with, and this guy was a drug dealer. She should have seen the writing on the wall.
I think that she began life as a very damaged woman, which made her more vulnerable to meeting someone like Derek Goldson, who promised her the world. That's the tragedy of the story.
In this episode of the For My Man podcast, we meet Jessica Delancey and her boyfriend Derek. We explore Jessica's upbringing and her descent into a life of crime. So stay tuned with myself, along with my co-host Crystal and our special guest Tyra. We are here with the breakdown for this episode of For My Man, and we're talking about Jessica Delancey and her boyfriend Derek of 4 months, and we have my great co-host Crystal. Crystal, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and we have a very special guest this time around. We have Tyra. Tyra, say hello.
Woo! Hello, what's going on?
All right. So just coming off of this episode, and I know we all heard it, we want to react on this episode because there were so many different things that just transpired that you just couldn't even imagine. So were you surprised by the path Jessica chose for her life, given her family history? And whoever wants to start, they may.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. This is Crystal, everyone. What's up? So, no, I was not surprised, Jahi. So I wasn't surprised at all because, I mean, it was unfortunate, right? But her life was horrible, right? So your mom left you, your dad was abusive, you kind of had nothing, no type of family dynamic there. And then, you know, if we want to go through it, you meet someone, you have a kid, you kind of do the same thing to your kid, you get with another man that was abusive, then you made it to the strip club. I honestly just, yes, I did think that her path would have been like this. Now, did I think she helped to kill somebody? No, but.
No, I definitely understand. Tyra, how do you feel?
I already knew it was not looking good from the start of the story. I mean, shout out to her grandma, though. She, you know, grandma tried to do what she can, but grandma can only do too much. And then, you know, bad environment, don't really got that stability. You know, only so much good can come out of that. So I wasn't surprised at all.
No, I wasn't that surprised either. Like, you can't experience so much violence and so much trauma and then expect it to have a real profitable and fruitful life after that. Like, I don't understand how someone didn't intercede a little bit quicker to try to help this young woman.
Can I add something on to that, Jaheem?
Yeah, no problem.
The crazy thing is, adding on to that is that, like, it's unfortunate because all this was happening in a very vulnerable time of where you're basically going to determine how your life is about to be. So she was young when her mom left. She was young when her dad was abusive, and we don't even know what kind of abuse that may even look like, right? Then next thing you know, you're getting married and having a kid in your teens, and then you're killing people at 21. So it's like
you didn't even have a chance.
You didn't have a chance.
Your life is over before you can really fully drink. You know, like before you can rent a car.
Yeah,
your life was over.
2 bodies at 21.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you learned that Jessica found love at a strip club? Because you're never supposed to find love in a strip club. Is it possible to find love in that type of environment?
They did on Players Club.
Diamond did.
I found love.
That's true.
That would be my first place to go looking for love. I think that's like Plan Z, but
going off of what Tyra said, like, yeah, like that's the very last option. But hey, I'm not mad at it. You know, like you meet people anywhere, right? And she was just trying to make a living for her son. Remember, at that time, she was going to school still, but she needed the money because, you know, the bills and everything were kind of coming up. So, I mean, hey, she met a man in the club. Like, you know, what did T-Pain say? I'm in love with a stripper.
Well, she was a stripper.
Exactly.
It wasn't the other way around.
But I mean, even though it worked out poorly for her, it still worked out great because that person,
nothing great happened from this. Nothing great. There was nothing great that happened from this at all.
They found love in the club.
I don't know if that was love. Neither one of their frontal lobes would develop enough to find love at that young age. Both of them, and Derek in particular, because, you know, he had his issues. But yeah, no, he was a wild boy. At what point did you realize that Jessica's life was about to take a dramatic turn?
When he told her to quit her job, when he said,
okay,
I don't want you working, I don't want you at the strip club no more, I said, it's about to get a little tricky.
He said, I'm your daddy now.
It's not to be a problem. I knew right then and there, and I was right.
Maybe a little bit back with the daddy issues, but I mean, some people have daddy issues and can come through with it. But the minute the friend was like, hey, you can always come to the club, you know, it was like, wait a minute, don't do it.
Right, don't take me out.
What do you think was the most jaw-dropping moment in this episode?
Man, jaw-dropping for me was all the way at the end when everyone clearly wasn't really cool for real. Because how did you not know that your man's best friend's girlfriend was cousins of the little girl? Like, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, the person you guys killed, that was your best friend, your man's best friend's cousin, and her daughter made it safe. And she happened to be there to go to her mom's funeral. Like that, to me, it was like, oh, wow. Like you got, wow. If you thought you were home free, he actually set himself up for his doom. You're like, oh, go to my best friend's house and get my bail money. How is that your best friend and you didn't know who his girlfriend was, let alone the girl you killed?
Man, you know how you just said that's what I thought. I was like, oh, he's setting her up. I was like, he probably did that on purpose. And I'm like, how did you not know? And then you send your girl over there for bail money. That's what I think. I think he obviously knew who he was going. Like, that was a wrap.
Ooh, that's a turn of events. Like, what if he actually thought?
So, yeah, that was the most shocking part.
Yes, because he was in jail.
I think you give people too much credit too. I mean, at the same time, I just don't think he was thinking at all. You got to think about this. He's a 19-year-old drug-dealing drug addict.
Oh, yeah, he was on drugs.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like this young man is in his right frame of thought most of the time, right? So is he thinking the right way right now? Are we really think that he's in his right frame of mind? Absolutely not. But that wasn't the most shocking thing to me. No. The most shocking thing is that they ran down to find the other young lady and to shoot her pretty much in the middle of the street I think that was the most shocking thing to me, to hunt this young lady down that you had no intention of even seeing, to go in there and to do that. I think that was the most shocking. And knowing that there's a child in there, knowing that, and you're still going through with all of your crime, to me, they had plenty of opportunity to say, hey, we should probably not do this.
All right.
But they did it anyway. So,
and they left with no money.
They left with nothing. You did all of this and left with nothing.
No drugs, no money, no nothing.
Yes, that was second jaw dropping for me, was y'all left with nothing. But what you just said, Jahi, for me wasn't jaw dropping. It was side scratching because I was like, you are home free and you stopped at a bush. You were in a bush. You stopped at a bush and got down in a bush and they randomly sawed her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait a minute. And then, of course, you begged for your life, but clearly you didn't care about your life too much because I would have kept going. Like, what do you mean? Like, all this is an opportunity. And you stopped. You stopped in a bush. I just can't. I can't.
Nobody was thinking.
That mother's intuition did not kick in, baby, because I would have been gone. Like, what are you talking about?
Nah, that's true. I have a question. This goes back to Jessica actually being a mother herself. And it's a good transition. You talk about mother's intuition. Were you surprised that Jessica passed her responsibilities as a mother off to her family?
No.
Yeah. She was young. In turn, she was trying to be young.
Her mom wasn't there. Her dad, actually, even though he was there, he wasn't there. Like, no. And then she went to the club, and then she wanted her man.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of surprises with her having a child, like she only met Derek 5 days before moving into his home with her child.
Yep.
Like, again, going back to her mothering and her parenting skills, none of y'all are parents. I know I am, but none of y'all are parents. Would you even move in with somebody that you didn't know with your puppy?
I don't have no dog.
If you had a puppy.
I don't have no fish, but I will let you know this right now. I'm an aunt. We can say that. And I know we can't cuss on here, but there's no way. And you know what? I'm leaving them with anybody if my eyes are not on them. So no, never. And if you ask, oh, do you want, they could stay here? No, they can't.
Oh, no.
So let's just take the kids out of it. Would you move, either one of y'all, as women, would y'all move in with anyone after 5 days?
You got money or what?
Well, he's a drug dealer, so apparently he had a little bit.
No, I'm not talking about the money that's going to go away. I'm talking about like the rich. Now, if he's a drug dealer, no. But I mean, hey, if I fell in love in Cancun to a rich man, you never know.
Maybe. It's just like this, possibly.
I know that's neither here nor there. But a drug dealer, no, Jahi. I would not move in with a drug dealer after 5 days.
I can't. I'm not. My brain will develop.
So moving forward, if you were in Jessica's situation and needed money for school, would you rely on a man to take care of you?
Hey, I ain't mad at it. I wouldn't be in debt right now. You know how much money I'm in debt right now for going to school? Stop it.
Tyra.
She said the same thing.
I'm like, Lord, I'm tired. Take the wheel and the bills, please.
Give it to the Lord, because not me.
Man, like, if that's what the Lord wants to send me, like, hey.
Conversely, if you found yourself in that situation, Jahi, and had only a woman to help you, perhaps one with questionable characters, would you allow her to take care of you?
Yeah, I would. Not now, but if I was younger, yeah. So when the situation with Reginald arose and Derek proposed his plan, how soon would you have decided to cut ties with Derek after hearing it? Like, you know, when he said, hey, he gave me some bad work. We about to go rob this dude. Like, at what point do you be like, you know what? I'm good.
Well, John, you know, you think about it. I would have been done when he thought he was going to, you know, do drugs and beat on me. But that's neither here nor there. That's not the question. But I would definitely say, as soon as he said it, I would have been like, let me take my son and get up out of here.
Right. You call me when you're done doing that.
I would like never had the conversation if I was that down bad for the man. But I'm not doing it. I'm not going. We aren't doing anything. There's no we and I.
Yeah, baby, I'm going back to the strip club. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
Like I could have made that money in 2 days. You mad because he gave you some back, but they did, since he has his reputation, you know how it is. It's like, oh, I can't let things slide. You could have went to go fight him or something, like, and I wouldn't be there either. I have no involvement.
Yeah. No, that would have been a quick, like, you know what, man? These plans don't seem like they're working right for me. I'm cool. You took it to a little bit extreme. I think we could do something else for $1,000. I don't think we have to do that.
Yeah, like let's think about this when you're not high.
I don't think we have to do that. Like, just $1,000. We can figure that out.
Right. Like I got it.
Like that's all it was. It was little. It was such a little bit amount of money that it's like you guys ruined your life over that little bit of money. But she couldn't have walked away because of this little bit of money. She had every multiple chances to be like, I don't know. I don't know.
She did. And with that being said, do you think Jessica became an equal partner in crime based on her grooming, or do you think like she was just trying to ride or die for her man? What do y'all think?
I think she was a little slow, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, she was definitely equal partner because there was too many opportunities where she could have gotten out. You know what I mean? It's like even when it came down to her becoming the getaway driver, I'm not going anywhere, but then you have the audacity to still, at this point, you went and decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and tell them what happened. Now you want to come clean, but you didn't even have to do all that because you had multiple ways to get out. And when you saw that kid there, when you saw, oh, he's not really trying to rob these people, he's trying to kill them. And from what I remember, she shot the first shot, right? Because they were tussling and then he called her from the back room.
Yes.
So you shot the first shot for what? You could have pistol whipped him. There's all kinds of things you could have did besides. And you shot in the back and then watched him shoot him. If anything, if you wanted to get away home free, you should have shot your man and been like, I don't know what happened. But I'm sorry, the blood is on my hands. You have to dig it out of my cold fingers because I didn't do nothing. I wasn't there. That wasn't me. I have a twin.
Your twins are male, but okay.
No one knows. I could be a triplet, but I wasn't there.
One me.
Tyra, what do you think?
I think she was just trying to be a ride or die. Like they said, trying to get her Bonnie and Clyde on and went extremely wrong. I think that's why when it came down to it, she was like, here, let me just tell you everything I know. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Bonnie and Clyde gone wrong. She was just trying to be a ride or die.
Didn't Bonnie and Clyde die at the end?
Yes, they both died.
You're right. So ride or die gone wrong. Let me say that. Ride or die gone wrong.
By the time they get out, they both
Bonnie and Clyde, yeah.
But then he get 2 life sentences?
Yeah, so...
Who got 2 life sentences? 48 years is life.
Years.
No, she got 48 years, but he got 2 consecutive life sentences, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 48 years, that's
50 years is a life sentence. So 48, 50.
So they said if you die,
they say here
back to life, you'll still be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
She literally gave up her man, the same one she was quote unquote riding or dying for 40-some years. No.
They say, okay, we'll shave a couple years off.
She shot you first.
We've all been there, maybe not as much as Crystal, but we've all been in love where we thought we were in love and we weren't always as mindful. And then we turned out that we probably really weren't in love in the first place. Do you think that's why Jessica flipped on Derek?
No.
Why do you think she flipped?
I think when they started telling her that she was going to be the one going down for murder, she was just like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and say something. Or she then felt bad for what she did. But long story. I mean, he pled guilty, and then she, gave up her story for a lesser plea. So I don't think it was I don't think it was like I thought I was in love, but maybe I wasn't thing. I really just think that it came down to it. She knew she was going to jail. She was already caught. And then she was like, let me just go ahead and tell what happened.
That's what I think. I feel like it just
like a
all right, let me just tell. Like, she didn't know. Like, she didn't probably understand. So she just started talking. Like, this is what happened. She probably freaked out, spooked. Like, yeah.
I don't think it was like, oh my God, like he just had this whole hold on me, and now that I'm just by myself away from him, I'm gonna finally say something because you just incriminated yourself. Like, forget him. Like, you're going to jail for like a long time. Like, no. Because if she really felt like she was in love, she could have been like, oh, I did it.
Right.
You know?
Speaking of Jessica going to jail for a long time, do you think 48 years was enough time?
I mean, how much more time does she need,
Yeah, I think they kind of they made an example out of her. Before you think you the new Bonnie and Clyde.
I definitely think that that was enough. Honestly, for her, probably 10 years probably would have been enough for her. I mean, like, she was very young,
She needed more than 10.
I mean, of course, she needed more than 10 for what she did in her involvement. But I'm just saying, like, she was just involved. I mean, she wasn't the one that went and walked up to the girl and shot her. She was not the one who, because after they shot old dude in the back, they could have just left because, come on now, he's a drug dealer. He's not going to the cops saying, oh, hey, these people shot me. You know what I mean? But the boyfriend was the one who decided to execute. Now, was she naive and dumb and maybe she was scared? I have no idea why she did what she did. I mean, she wasn't that smart, but I do think that maybe some time away from her son, time for her to see, like, did they ever write each other? Did anything? I don't know. I don't even know if you can write from prison to prison, but after a while, like, I do think that she would, I think she could have learned something past, with a lesser sentence, but 48 years, she should have just said she did it. I mean, she's not going to, her grandma's going to be gone, the dad gone, she has no family, her life is over with.
Her son going to be what? In his 50s? He'll be in his 50s.
Yeah, he's not going to have nothing to do with her.
He might be a grandfather himself by that time.
Right,
so her life is over. I mean, I don't know how they come up with some of these sentences, but I do think because she didn't kill someone, that I think a lesser sentence she still would have learned. But with the higher sentence, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
well,
I feel like she needed some redirection.
Yeah, well, I think her actions directly led to the murder of two people.
Sure.
So because of that, I mean, she got what she got. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And maybe it could have been less, but she did her fair share of crime to be able to put herself in that situation. So I'm not going to sit over and say what was her for this. She's old enough to know what she did was not right. Lastly, in this story, someone says you can always tell a person's future by the people they hang around, and that Jessica should see the writing on the wall. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And there's already studies that show this. There's a lot out there that proves that the 5 people that you hang around with the most in top 3, you are the most like, even in, I don't know if you guys are spiritual or religious or anything, but even in the Bible, it states that, the people that you have around you is that is going to definitely determine what you allow. Is going to determine how you think and what you do. So yeah, I think that she was kicking around a stripper, then a first, if you want to go back to the dad, she probably didn't really have any friends, but you had the abusiveness of the dad, then the stripper friend, and then the young drug dealer. There's no way that a smart individual would be like, yes, I want to be around these people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Tyra for coming along with Crystal and I today. Tyra, thank you so much for being a part of this episode with us. It was great. Loved it. Crystal, as always, it's been a blast. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the For My Man podcast, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jahi, and I'm excited about this episode of the For My Man podcast. Let me start by introducing myself and my co-hosts. I am Jahi Whitehead, and this is Crystal. Today, we also have a special guest, Lori, with us. In this episode of the For My Man podcast, we continue exploring the lengths women will go to for the men they love. I'll share my perspective, but I'm eager to hear Lori and Crystal's thoughts during our episode wrap-up, and would love to hear your thoughts on this episode as well. In this episode of the For My Man podcast, we meet Shakira Woonham and her abusive boyfriend, Steve Martin. We learn about Shakira's upbringing and the circumstances that led her to start a relationship with Steve. After running away from home, she ends up with Martin, but she soon encounters abuse as a result of this relationship. Unfortunately, her life abruptly changes into a life of crime.
Growing up poor in the worst part of the city, Shakira Woonham's childhood was far from idyllic.
Shakira was born when I was 17 and a half. Shakira's father, he wasn't a good provider. I was the one that was working.
He was an alcoholic. He had serious mental health issues. In fact, he was bipolar.
Shakira's father's volatile personality makes her home life extremely unstable.
Shakira's father was a violent man, and he was abusive towards her mother.
When she see that he would put his hands on me, Shakira would try to pick up something and hit him to protect me.
She witnessed abuse all the time when she was a child.
One such event on New Year's Eve proves to be a defining moment in 5-year-old Shakira's life.
Shakira's father came in the house after having a hard night of drinking and started arguing with me about something.
The father goes into the kitchen, comes back with a steak knife, and goes after her.
And he stabbed me in the back. Then he pulled it out and came at my heart and then came at my throat. And Shakira was standing right next to me watching everything happen.
Despite a punctured lung, Deneen survives the attack. She returns home 2 days later, but will need the next 8 months to heal. The incident is burned into Shakira's psyche, and it will pave the way for all of her male relationships to come.
When we see a child who's exposed to violence, then that violence becomes part of their lives. Either they choose someone who's very violent in order to live with later on in life, or they perpetrate that violence.
Get off of me! Get off of me!
She was unprepared for what was about to occur.
If it wasn't for love, Shakira would have never committed this act.
You are listening to the For My Man podcast. Stay tuned for more.
At 5 years old, Shakira Woonham witnesses her father brutally attack her mother, Deneen, with a knife. After 8 months of recovery at home, Deneen survives and cuts him out of their life for good. With her dad out of the picture, Shakira blossoms.
She did well in school. She had good grades. She got A's and B's.
Shakira was very smart. She wanted to be an obstetrician or a gynecologist. Shakira had a lot of dreams.
But Shakira's dreams are quickly interrupted. Over the next 10 years, she watches helplessly as her mother is abused by a string of men. Shakira starts looking for an escape.
She was 11 years old when she started running away from her house. She would pack her clothes and sneak out at night when her mom was asleep.
She would sneak out windows. She would sneak out fire escapes. She always managed to get out.
Shakira's late-night excursions expose her to a dark world on the streets.
She would meet up with boys. They'd give her drugs and alcohol, and she would have sex with them.
Shakira certainly wasn't able to make rational decisions about life, and certainly she was at risk to these predator type of individuals who saw her as being very vulnerable.
By the time Shakira is 17, she has been living on and off the streets for a number of years and is addicted to drugs. Deneen tries to get her daughter help and sends her to various drug treatment programs.
Shakira spent 3/4 of her life in treatment centers because I was trying to find out what was going on with her. She did succeed in those treatment centers, but when she came home a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, she would do the same thing.
But all of that changes when 23-year-old charmer Stephen Martin sets his sights on Shakira.
Shakira saw Stephen on the street, and somehow they ended up talking.
Within days, they're inseparable. Unlike all other men in her life, Stephen showers her with affection.
She had a good time with him. He treated her like she wanted to be treated.
I think Shakira felt as though she had someone in her life that is finally showing her some attention, and she just gravitated towards it.
Stephen is a well-known drug dealer, but to Shakira, he acts like nothing but a prince. So when he asks her to move in with him just 2 months after they meet, Shakira thinks she's finally found everything she's wanted.
He would run her bath water, fix food for her. She didn't think a guy could treat her that way. And she was gonna do everything she could not to let it go.
But that feeling doesn't last. Not long after the two start playing house, Shakira learns that her guardian angel is actually a devil in disguise. All the money Stephen makes from dealing has one purpose: to support his addiction to a street drug called wet.
Wet is a drug concoction where you take a regular cigarette and dip it in PCP. So individuals, sometimes they become very, very violent. At other times, they even become psychotic.
Suddenly, the affection that Shakira has been desperately craving is now coming at a much steeper price than she ever imagined.
He became abusive. There was times that he would ask her to do something, and when she didn't want to or she couldn't, he would start hitting her.
Shakira stayed in this very abusive relationship with Stephen because in many ways she wanted that old Stephen, the one who made her feel very special. And she held out hope against hope that she could bring that back in him.
She wanted to do everything she possibly could to please this person.
When Shakira met Stephen, she had no idea that she would end up in jail.
Stay tuned for more of the For My Man podcast.
17-year-old Shakira Wanham is 4 months into a relationship with 23-year-old Steve Martin, a street hustler who's addicted to drugs.
Stephen, he would beat her up. He would tell her, do this, do that. You know, he would verbally abuse her.
She was afraid that something would happen to her or her family if she did not do what she was told to do.
Stephen's dramatic personality change is bad enough, but things are about to get even worse.
You'll learn today. Smoke it.
4 months into their relationship, Stephen is high on wet and craving more.
Stephen said, I need money. I need you to rob somebody. because, you're young. You wouldn't get into as much trouble as I would if I was to do it.
He took the gun that he carried with him all the time and wiped his prints off of it, handed it to her, and said, I want you to go get me some money.
Stephen taught her how to use the gun and said, don't ever let anyone take the gun from you because they'll take it and use it on you. She was just very, very afraid, and she just wanted to bring something back to him so that she wouldn't get beat up again.
Later that night, Shakira contacts the easiest target she can think of. A local street pharmacist named Johnny Jackson.
He was a drug dealer, and so she assumed he would have money on him.
Shakira tells Johnny she's looking to score some drugs, and he agrees to pick her up in a nearby neighborhood.
Johnny had gotten a ride from a woman named Alicia, who had brought her 4-year-old son, who was sitting in the back in a car seat.
Shakira climbs into the car.
Shakira goes forward with the plan, even though there's a young child in the back of the car. This really shows how committed that she is to Stephen. For a lot of other people, this would have been a game changer. But for Shakira, she knew that she had to do this in order to hold on to the love of this man.
They went to another house for the drug transaction, and then they got on the freeway and headed out. There was music on, which was very loud, and both Alicia and Johnny were singing.
Clutching the gun in her purse, Shakira knows it's either now or never. She pulls out the gun and tells Alicia to stop the car.
And said, give me your money. And Johnny said, what?
Shut up, Johnny. Just give me your money. I know you got cash on you.
But Johnny's not about to let a 17-year-old get the jump on him.
He went to reach for the gun.
That's when it clicked in her mind what Stephen was teaching her. Don't ever let someone take the gun from you because they'll take it and use it on you. She was afraid.
It was a very surreal thing for her. She closed her eyes. The next thing you know, the gun was going off.
When she opened her eyes, she saw blood.
She saw Johnny slumped over.
Johnny is dead. His friend Alicia has been shot in the arm, but Alicia's 4-year-old son makes it through the blasts unharmed.
Shakira was shocked because she didn't mean to kill anyone.
Shakira told Alicia to take her son and go, and they did.
Shakira fights her instinct to run. She knows she can't leave without getting what Stephen wants.
Shakira then went through his pockets, taking $50 and his cell phone.
She was obviously bloody, very scared, very panicky, crying, hysterical.
Shakira thought she was going to get more than $50 from him. She was concerned because everything went bad.
Shakira must have felt awful, if not downright foolish, because she ended up killing this man for just a few dollars.
A panicked Shakira knows she has to get as far away from the tragic scene as she can.
She ended up hitchhiking and getting dropped off at a gas station by Stephen's home. And she ran to the home from there and told Stephen what happened.
There was a big argument between the two.
He said, the only thing I wanted you to do was just rob somebody and bring me some money.
He was thinking he's going to get me, he's going to abuse me, he's going to hit me.
But there's no time for Stephen to lash out. When Shakira tells him that she let Alicia and her young son go, Stephen knows it's only a matter of time before police track Shakira down. And he doesn't want to be anywhere near Wilmington when they do. So Stephen jumps into action.
He had her take her clothes because they had blood on them and put them in a bag and poured bleach on it. Then drove to New Jersey and they burned her clothes.
Shakira might have felt that Stephen was helping hide the evidence because he still loved her on some level. But the reality may simply be that he provided the murder weapon and was simply covering his own tracks.
Next, Stephen and Shakira flee. 3 hours later, the emotionally exhausted couple arrive at the home of a friend of Stephen's in New Jersey, where they fall asleep. But when Shakira wakes up in the morning, Stephen is gone.
It was a pure shock for her. And I think part of that was the fear of, how am I going to deal with this situation without him? He's always told me what to do. How am I going to get through this?
And there's only one person Shakira can truly trust. Her mom, who she hasn't spoken to in 6 months.
When I got a phone call about 1 in the morning, obviously I was happy to hear from her. And she said, well, Mom, I'm gonna come home. I said, well, good, well, come on home.
Shakira hitchhikes from New Jersey back to her mom's house in Wilmington.
She was very frail, eyes sunken in, and just very, very tiny. I gave her a hug, and she said, Mom, I'm just tired. And then she laid down in her room and went to sleep.
5 hours later, Deneen is awakened by the sound of police pounding on the door.
Ma'am, we're looking for Shakira.
The detective asked me, was my daughter home? And at that point is when I went to look for her. I didn't see her at all in the home. I didn't know where Shakira was at that point. I didn't know.
Shakira may be missing, but her secret is about to see the cold light of day.
When I found out everything that happened, and I almost passed out.
Prepare yourself for more shocking twists and heart-wrenching turns. This is the For My Man podcast.
17-year-old Shakira Wanham lands on her mother's doorstep after committing a robbery for her man, Stephen Martin, that ends in murder. 5 hours later, police come looking for Shakira.
Well, there was a robbery.
I go open the door, and it's the police, and I'm shocked. They said, is your daughter Shakira at home? And I said, she was here, yes.
Shakira!
When I went to look for her, I didn't see my daughter.
Deneen demands to know what police want with Shakira. When she is told her daughter is wanted for murder, Deneen is floored.
Check the premise.
This tore my heart. This ripped my heart out. That's my firstborn.
Armed with a search warrant, the officers hunt through every room, but find no sign of Shakira. Eventually, they find her huddled in an attic corner.
Well, one officer said, here she is. They lifted her up and handcuffed her.
Police haul Shakira away for questioning, where she gives up everything to police, including the man who put her up to it.
She said Stephen asked Shakira to rob for him after giving her some drugs. If she didn't do what he wanted her to do, he'd beat her again.
And they went to his home and found ammunition. And that's when they found him and arrested him.
Stephen admits to giving Shakira a gun, but vehemently denies having anything to do with the murder. He is arrested and convicted of a weapons-related violation, but faces no charges in the murder of Johnny Jackson. Stephen is sentenced and serves only 2 years in prison.
This was something that was an emotional assault to her because after all, she was just following his commands and trying to help him get money so that he can do drugs. Shakira committed this murder in order to please Stephen.
At the end of the day, it was Shakira's fault that Johnny Jackson lost his life. And Shakira knows that.
A little over a year later, Shakira faces a jury for her crimes, and she tells them that she's remorseful for her actions.
During trial, Shakira stated that she wished she could change places with Johnny. She feels very, very bad about what happened.
She expressed sorrow for the family and the people she'd hurt.
Shakira is convicted of 1 count of murder in the first degree and receives life in prison plus 17 years. On appeal, Shakira's lawyers argue against her conviction, citing her traumatic upbringing and age as mitigating factors. She is resentenced to 21 years.
She fortunately will have a life when she gets out of jail because she was so young. So she'll be able to make her way back into society.
Today, Shakira has changed from the naive teen who killed in the name of love to a mature woman with a message.
The main thing that Shakira wants now is for people to learn from her mistake. Shakira is now one of the ones running the Scared Straight program.
She wanted to participate because she wanted to help other girls or women who may be in the same situation that she was in. She thinks that by telling her story, it might help deter others from staying in abusive relationships.
All right, now let's dive into the For My Man podcast episode wrap up. Here with us today, we have Crystal and we have Lori. Hello, ladies.
Hello there.
How you doing? So we're going to get into this discussion of this episode of For My Man. What do you think was the most jaw-dropping moment in this episode?
Hey, this is Lori. And for me, the most jaw-dropping was when Shakira was in the car with Johnny and the gun went off and shot Johnny. I was literally sitting there like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen next? It was crazy.
Hey guys, this is Crystal. So I would say the most jaw-dropping scenario here for me was when Steven forced Shakira to take drugs, and then when he also forced her to rob someone at 17 years old. That was kind of jaw-dropping to me.
Yeah, I think both of those scenarios are really jaw-dropping. The gun going off is very interesting, but the jaw-dropping thing to me is the baby in the car, the child in the car.
Yes.
Fortunately, making it out, being unharmed. And that right there is just to put that child in danger and still going through with it. There were many scenarios where this shouldn't have happened, but that was one of the jaw-dropping things that it still went on after knowing that a child is there. So moving forward, reflecting on Shakira's experience, how important do you believe witnessing domestic violence was in shaping her life? Like, in what ways do you think it impacted her actions and decisions?
I would say, I mean, when you grow up and all you see is your mother, getting beat and your mom just, not being able to protect herself. And, if you see that, that's kind of, it just gets in you. And that's all Shakira knew. She just knew dysfunction. She just knew that you lean on a man to help you, but they're not going to always treat you right. And that's fine, because that's how she saw it. That was her mom's story.
So definitely what I feel like when it comes to domestic violence and you're watching that from a parent and then having to step in as a child, that can definitely affect you. Now, from personal experience, I had that her whole life was literally mine. And it definitely is one of those things where you're going to come out two ways. Either you're going to say, I would never allow this to happen to me, or it's going to be, well, this is what love looks like. And if someone is not being physical with me, maybe they don't love me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they were doing these things because they wanted best for me, quote unquote. So I think that it can definitely affect who you're going to shape yourself to be, but you got to get out of that mindset. And if you don't, it can drag you down the wrong path, just how we saw here.
That's good, Crystal.
Yes, I agree. I agree with all the sentiments you guys said. It's interesting to think about like why some people leave an abusive situation right away, while others like Shakira stay and get deeper into a life of crime. Why do you think she made that choice? And was she really forced to do what she did, or were there other reasons involved?
I think it goes back to what Crystal just said. Was she forced? I mean, in order to, for her to continue in her relationship, she had to go rob somebody to get money for the man that she loved. And when a woman loves a man, they will do whatever they need to do, like for my man. But I don't know. She had a lot of stuff going on. Crystal, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to say this. I feel like in the beginning, it may have been a bit of a force. And then at the end, it was more of a fear. In abuse in general, you start off just like how he did. He showered her, made her feel like she was a princess, even though he was a drug dealer, a well-known one. So I don't know how that was supposed to go, but showered her, made it. They even said that they that he used to run her bathwater and all the other stuff. She's 17 years old, right? She
Right.
saw her mother getting beat up on all the time. Then she meets this man who's doing all these little things that she feels like are big. And I guarantee throughout that time of the relationship, then he started to try to test her. He probably started calling her out of her name. You know, you start doing that emotional abuse. You start emotional, mental, and then you go to physical. Once they got you mentally, they know they can hit you. And so once that comes, then you get that ultimate fear, because it's like, well, first, I wanted the old person. I, like they kind of said in the episode, I want this old person. He made me feel great. He made me feel loved. He made me feel like a queen. And then you kind of allow and accept the little things that you felt like were not big. Because in a lot of cases, if you're not getting physically struck, people do not believe that it's abuse. But it definitely starts from the emotional abuse, mental, and then they will hit you. It's common. So once he started physically abusing her, forcing her to take drugs, and really getting angry and beating her up, as a 17-year-old, she probably was terrified. So I think, yes, she was forced. And then she just got afraid because she hasn't spoke to her mom in 6 months. She probably didn't think she can go back home. There's a lot of different things here. But yeah, I don't think towards the end she was forced, because once you got that gun, you could have ran. So
Speaking about that, Stephen handing Shakira that gun and she didn't run was really that turning point. How do you think you would have reacted in that situation?
You know what? So it's so many thoughts that I have. How would I react now? I'd be like, whatever. But thinking in the mind of a 17-year-old who's in love, who's abused, you know, okay, let me get back to me. How would I react if it's my man, my man, my man? I would say I probably would have taken the gun, because that's my man, and I would probably do what he wanted me to do, because when you were in that situation and you just loving your man, you do what you go to great lengths to make sure that you are doing what he wants you to do. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, really. Crystal?
yeah, so I also feel the same as far as like if I was mentally broken, right?
Yeah.
I'm young, I'm mentally broken, I'm emotionally ripped apart, and I'm being physically abused. I probably would have just did it too, so that it can just go away, right? Yep. But being me, I would have turned that gun around. Like, oh, you told me not to let anyone take it from me, right? Oh, you're gonna hit me again? Never, right? So that would have been me. But then also, I wouldn't have been in the situation. So, yeah.
That's a good point, because, you know, like how I feel, I'm the same. I'd be like, no way, sir. But like you said, if I'm broken, I'm hurt, I'm just abused, it's a different mindset. And you will go to any length, again, to do what you need to do for your man.
Right.
Right. And y'all brought up really good points. And you kind of alluded to this about what you would do anyway. But if you were in Shakira's situation, in her position, what would be your get out strategy? What would be your exit plan of getting away and trying to escape from Stephen?
Probably when he said, go get some money, I'm out. He gave that was the out. And so I would find my way with what, I get some money, and then I get some money and go on. And it's not as easy as it sounds, because I know there's a lot of layers to that, but that's probably in my head. I'm like, that's my escape route. I'm out of here. He told me to get money. I'm not coming back. I'm gonna get money, but I'm gonna get it for myself, and I'm out.
Yeah, same. It's once I got the cash, or if I got in that car with them, I would have just said, please take me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But even getting that cash, it would seem like she's in a difficult position. She's 17 years old. She has a gun. And even getting that cash, the likelihood of her still committing a crime is still high, right? Mm-hmm. Just to get out. So, like, where would be the line that you would draw to try to get out of that situation if you're in her position?
I mean, there's so many. The line, if he beat me, if he's telling me to do things that, drugs and all of that, that would be my line. I'm out.
But the line of what you would do to get out, though.
Oh, again, I mean, if he said, go get me something, he's allowing me out of his space or our space, whatever, and I'm getting away from him because he told me to, then that for me, that's it.
I would have told him I need the keys to the car so I can get back faster.
Ooh, that's good.
And I would have drove. We would have been gone, me and his car.
Just somewhere. Yeah.
Somewhere.
No, yeah. Yeah, and that'd be a good, like, just, being on his side until you have to get out. Yeah, no, I can understand that. But you're looking at her, she was pretty much a castaway. Like, she didn't have anybody to really love her,
That's true too. As her mindset, she wanted to hold on to what she could.
Yeah. And then especially as we're young, we have this, and you don't know yourself, we have this perception of love or that may not be real,
I can relate to that. That's very true, because I did date a young man back in the day, and he wasn't doing the best for society, and I would be there for him.
Let me find out, Lori.
Exactly. I was in Phoenix. He was from Cali, West Coast, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
West Side, but anyway, yeah.
What's going on?
So I get it. Like, if that's, I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah. While many might assume that Shakira would feel like liberated when she woke up when Stephen wasn't there, she didn't. What would have been your next move if you woke up and the person that you were hiding out with, the person that you loved, the person that you did this for, is now gone? Would you turn yourself in, or what would you do?
It was scary because I know they went to New Jersey to hide out.
Yes.
And then, and I literally, I could see it. I saw the house. I saw, he tried to hide the clothes, whatever, but they woke up in that house. She woke up and he wasn't there. And I felt that. I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, you don't even know where you are, all that stuff. The broken me, I don't know. I probably would have been looking for him. But how I think I would do right now is I'd hand him over to authorities but I don't know where he is. So that's my mindset, though. I would be very scared.
Yeah, I definitely feel like my reaction and what I would have done would have been completely different. I'm not going home and falling asleep. Not doing that. The first thing I would have thought was, oh my God, I know he didn't just leave me here, right?
Right.
Then I would have probably packed up all my stuff and found somewhere to go, because I would have assumed he was going to the authorities to try to pin everything on me, including having the weapon, killing somebody, and he's just the innocent boyfriend and found out all this stuff and basically told authorities on me. That would have been the first thing I thought. But to go home and then to go to sleep and say that you're tired after you kill somebody is insane. But it just shows her lack of maturity.
But it also shows, all their lack of thinking. They went one state away. They went from Delaware to New Jersey. It's about a 20-minute ride, depending on where you are in New Jersey. But no one thought to go a little bit further. I think they could have went a little bit further than Jersey.
A little bit further. They could have. I would have been in Florida somewhere. Okay.
And they went to the wrong direction. Like I'm pretty sure they're gonna find there's a lot of tolls that way. So you want to go. You want to go to a place with less tolls, and again, you see the immaturity in all of them. You see obviously he's a drug addict, so he's not thinking properly. He's older than her, but mentally he's a child. Mm-hmm. And she is actually a child that really has no experience but bad experience. Well, no experience about life, but the experience that she has had were, traumatic in her life. Mm-hmm. And she has nothing. She only has traumatic experience to go off of and nothing better than that. Mm-hmm. So.
And the worst part is when you add on another layer to it, she also had a mother who was in the exact same mindset, right? Because that maturity level, that mother's intuition, all these things that you get growing up, her mom was a full-blown adult. Like, yes, she had her at what? I think she said she had her at 17 and a half. Yeah. So she was 17 and a half. As she was growing up, she's, got with this man And he was also abusive to her and stayed in this abusive relationship while she was growing up. But it's like that the mom never got to get out of that mindset either. So you had an immature mother who also stayed probably in a child's place, quote unquote, because she was still young and a child when she was being abused, and then had a child as a young, adult, and then had this daughter who she probably wasn't even raising to its fullest. There's a lot going on here. And I feel like she never really had a chance. Her mom didn't even try to get out of the situation, even though she saw her daughter try to defend her. Once something had to have clicked there, but that just shows that her mom never grew up. Her mom could never even get out of that space. So I just feel like she was a goner from there.
Well, there are a lot of people that failed her all around. Chicago, a lot of people failed her. Her father, anybody who was around him who didn't realize he had a mental health problem because it says that he was schizophrenic. Her mom for not getting her out of a bad situation. And anybody else, any family members that are attached, they all saw this young girl going down a bad road and no one was there to help her. Wow. So there were a lot of adults across the board that failed her before she even got to this man. So, and after listening to this episode of the For My Man podcast, what are your main takeaways? Perhaps we'll never, ever find you when it comes to a relationship.
The takeaway is there's a cycle that is happening with our men and women, and it has to be broken. And, things happen in people's childhood and they are a byproduct of what they've experienced. So, the takeaway is just like, we got to step in and help these people in one way or another, be good examples for these people, because not everyone has a good example and a good direction or a good path,
True. And I definitely agree with that. It's just a very sad situation, and anyone has to even deal or be a part of something like that. Because, I agree with everything Lori said.
It's tough.
No, it's very tough. It's very tough. And I don't have a man to tell you that, so don't know anything I did. I think for me, it's what Crystal said earlier. Like if I knew someone and I knew they were really into the drugs heavy, and then you have to sell drugs and rob and steal just to have your addiction. I think that's your telltale sign that should be a way out. And wrapping this up, lastly, think about a moment in your own love life that may have led you on the edge of a moral dilemma. If you had to plan a way to avoid the consequences of your actions for my man, what would that look like?
Well, I shared mine a minute ago.
Yeah.
And but being young and it was an exciting lifestyle. I grew up in a very quiet neighborhood, and this young man grew up in the hood, and I was like, wow, look at all this. And it was, I didn't do anything bad per se, but as I look back, it could have gone total left because I was like wide open, like, wow, this is cool. So, yeah, luckily I did avoid the consequences, and I'm here now, and I don't know where he is, but I do know what it feels like when you are in love or you think you're in love. You will do what you need to do to take care of that person. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, America, I was a pretty good girl. I never put myself in any of those type of situations. I didn't even skip school on senior skip day. So
wow. Oh, wow.
I got in high school. I didn't do nothing, y'all. And you would think I would have. I was raised by a man. There was no way I was coming home to my dad doing anything crazy. No, thank you. Okay, so,
but have you done anything for your man that was like, wow?
I gave him some money, but not enough. I almost sued him to get it back.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I mean, hey, I did that for
But
fun.
you
though.
gave it to him because you felt there was something. Like, that's...
Yeah, to be there for him. But then when he tried to play me, I was like, cool. Send him that little letter. My friend's a lawyer. He said he got 2 weeks. I said, cool. But that was just for my fun. I'm a Virgo.
Okay. I just feel like women will. Even if it's small, even if it's money, even if it's holding some drugs, whatever, women will do those things. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, our minds go away. I'm like, what is going on? Girl, get it together.
Like, you will be okay.
Right.
You will be okay.
You will. But, for me, I never really had, as a man, never really, I was put in a position to do anything illegal for a woman. But for me, the dilemma, the moral, well, I maybe have, but the moral dilemma for me is having a woman that would just do anything for you and not
our own self.
Not taking advantage of that. I think with some people, they get this selfishness. If you can get anything that you want from somebody, it will be hard for a person not to take advantage of that.
Yep.
And the moral dilemma would be, I know if I keep asking, she's going to say yes, but I need to stop. I just need to get rid of her because I don't want her that way, and I'm going to lead her down the wrong path. So that would be, as a man, you would think, which one would you do? And I think for most people, and let's take men and women out, just most people in general, it'd be hard for you to say no for getting everything that you want when you want it and not dealing with any consequences for you not giving that person that same respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, ladies, don't do it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the moral of the story. The moral of the story yeah, don't do that because it'll be hard for any man to, even the best of us, to say no to that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in reverse when they say closed mouth don't get fed. It's like in a woman's case, I mean, you can literally keep your mouth closed or a woman will do anything she can for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I doubt she said, please let me rob someone for you.
Yeah, that wasn't the thing. But because not me personally, because a man asks, you will do it because of that love, and at that point, I don't know if that's love. That's a certain level of infatuation that mentally, that I don't think that's love because you don't really know what love is, because love actually will not do that.
It was true. Love is patient, love is kind. Isn't that what it says?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
love will not steer you down a wrong path intentionally.
Yeah,
that's not what love would do.
Infatuation.
Absolutely. So we have to find the clear signs of what it actually is. And she was too young to really know what love was, and she experienced so many dysfunctional relationships that she would never she would have never been able to identify what real love was.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. Yeah.
That was not her norm.
Yep.
That was never her norm.
Isn't she doing well right now, though? Running that Scared Straight program?
Yeah, absolutely. Now that's like she had to grow and mature, and whatever happened while she was in prison allowed her to do that.
Fortunate part, she had to mature in prison.
Yes, and that leads us to this question: do you think her sentencing was fair, and did she receive too much time, not enough time?
It seemed long. Isn't it 21 years?
21 years. 21 years.
There's people that do stuff now and they don't even get like that. I don't know. To me, it seems a little long.
Well, originally she got life.
Right.
Yeah. It's life plus 17 years. My bad. We forgot that part. Life plus 17 years. So if you outlived what the average life was, you still had 17 more years in jail.
Right.
Even though she was, 17, had that whole background, everything like that. I do think it was unfair. Yes, she killed someone, which she had to suffer the consequences of her actions, but it's not like she everything was bad, right? But I do think her, 21, 22 years, I think that does seem really long for her to have been 17. So technically, she was still underage when she did the crime. But I know since she was almost 18, sometimes they would hold up trial just so you could turn 18 so they could charge you as an adult. So I think that's what they tried to do. And then her lawyers kind of came back and said, no, life plus 17 is not okay. And so definitely, I think the time may have been okay. Now, do I think that I don't know how many times she kind of put in to see if she can get out early with good behavior. But 22 years. So what? She went to jail at 17 because she was only with that man for 4 months too. I think we didn't talk enough about that. But she was 17. So, she's what? She's like 39 or something like that. Or am I tripping? Is my math off? Yeah, she's like 39. Thank God she was able to transition into the working world by doing something like Scared Straight. Because it's like, honestly, what would she have been able to do? You have no key, nothing. You didn't learn anything. You haven't worked a real job. You have no education. What could you have really done? So yeah, her life was messed up the minute she decided to love that man.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I do think life plus 17 was ridiculous there in that situation. But I actually do think the 21 years was okay. There was a child there. She did shoot someone else there, and she did flee. So, but in wrapping up, I want to thank Lori. I want to thank Crystal, and I'm your co-host Jahi Whitehead. We want to thank you for joining this episode of the For My Man podcast. We will see you on the next episode.